Hi, welcome to the 13th floor. I'm Marty Duda, and today we have the DZ Deathrays with us. Hello. Shane and Simon, welcome.
Cheers.
Thanks for having us, man.
And the first thing I was thrilled about is the pronunciation of the band is DZ, the American way of saying it, instead of DZ. So I'm curious, how much conversation and discussion did you guys have over that particular issue?
I don't think really that much, because we had a band before this band called Denzel, which we used to call the DZ as like a joke, just between ourselves. And then from there, we called ourselves DZ when we went from a 3-piece to a 2-piece, and now we're back to a 3-piece.
So Australians usually say Z instead of Z?
Z.
We usually say
they
Z.
do say Z.
Yeah.
We just thought it was more fun.
Yeah, it has sort of like...
I mean, you guys know how to have a good time, it's obvious, yeah.
Yeah. Also, when you're going to go see a band and everyone's calling it DZ, it sounds like it's going to be like a hip-hop thing or something like that.
That's right.
And then it's just two dudes making rock music. So it's kind of fun to throw it.
Now, and I've noticed that there are a plethora of bands coming around that are 2-piece guitar and drums. And I'm sure that's not because everybody wants to be the White Stripes, but I'm just concerned about bass players in general. Do you feel bad about them, that they seem to be completely persona non grata?
I'm essentially the bass player in the band now. Yeah, just without a bass guitar.
Right.
Yeah, but there's ways around it, technology.
Yeah,
it's funny with the 2-piece thing, because when we first started, we were just a 2-piece out of necessity. We're originally with the same lineup we are now, which is 2 guitars and a drum set, and like I play through a bass amp with my guitar to get the low end. And it was just like, we lived together. We had a rehearsal room in our house, and we would just jam every afternoon after work. And so it was kind of like, we'll just keep going as a 2-piece. Once like our old drummer left, Simon learned drums for this band.
Well, you learned the drums for the band?
Yeah, well, I was dabbling with it before, and then our drummer left, so I was like, it's too hard to find people interested in bands.
That is
especially drummers.
Is it really?
It was hard to find people who are on the same page who like want to go 100% at it.
Right.
Everyone's always got other things. They're doing study, or they've got family things, or they want to move overseas, and so you've really got to. That's like, I think, half the battle of trying to keep a band together is having everyone on the same page and going in the same direction.
So how long did it take you to get up to speed on the drums before you were...
Probably about 2 years. The first couple of tracks we released are pretty high school sounding drums. Yeah,
because, I mean, to me, the idea of trying to play drums, getting your feet and your hands to do different things...
So frustrating.
Is it something you can teach yourself, or do you just need to know how to do that?
You can teach yourself it, but it just takes a lot of time.
Okay, well, I won't give it a shot now.
Just a couple of beers and then just a lot of swearing.
That I could do. All right, maybe there's hope yet.
The good thing is when you get frustrated, you're playing drums, so you just hit them harder. And then,
Because for me, back in my younger days, this was in the late 70s, everybody was in a punk band, of course, and so I decided I would do the same thing. But I just chose the bass because it was like, well, there's only 4 strings, how hard can it be? And you can play with just one note at a time. Which worked pretty well, actually.
Yeah.
But it didn't turn into a career.
I've had this like recent thing, I really want to play bass in a band.
Yeah?
I don't know why I started it, because I just started like researching like how to get like an amazing bass tone. Right. And so now I'm really, really interested in playing the bass in something that's maybe different to this.
But I think you're looking at it from the wrong way. You just need, the bass player is always the coolest one in the band. They just stand there. That's why you need to be the bass player. Nobody cares about the tone.
I do.
I used to be the bass player. We had another band called Velociraptor, and when we first started, I was bass player on that. But then we started getting busy with this band, so I kept missing too many shows, and then I got demoted down onto guitar. It's like,
I like the way
there's like 5 other guitarists in the band. Because when you're playing bass and there's like 5 other guitarists, you can always hear yourself.
Right.
But when you're the guitarist amongst 5 other guitarists, you can't hear shit.
Fair enough. So you guys have your 3rd album. It just came out. I have it written down here in February. Right? Yeah. February 2nd. Groundhog Day.
Is it? Right.
It is in the States. People don't realize here that there is an actual Groundhog Day. They just think that there's the movie and that's it. But February 2nd is a Groundhog Day, but we won't go into that now. And it's called Bloody Lovely, and it's 3 albums over the course of. The first one came out in 2012.
Yeah.
So these days, because of the way that the music business is settled and people don't really buy records as much as they used to. Does it give you less motivation to make records? You just want to spend your time on the road, or do you still need to get in the studio and crank out some new tunes?
Well, I think that was kind of the issue why it took 4 years between the second and third record. It was because we toured so much on the second record that we kind of forgot about writing songs, and then when we went back to start writing again for another record, it took us a little bit of time to get the sort of engine going.
Right.
So yeah, after we recorded Bloody Lovely, we just kept writing. As soon as we got out of the studio, we kept writing songs.
Because I guess it's kind of a muscle that once you
and
use,
you're in the flow of it all. So I think it's really important, because what we found is that you can tour, but to sort of keep pushing those like rooms to bigger sizes and stuff, you need to release music. And even if you don't sell much music, people want it, so they can, have more. Like, people want an album every year.
Yeah. I think because people aren't buying it, it's just free. It's a lot more disposable now.
Yep.
Like, if you
it's a weird thing. Like you say, people want the music.
Yeah.
They just don't want to pay for it.
No.
And they want to hear you play it live.
Yeah.
But I just interviewed somebody a couple of days ago. They had just released an album. They were touring Europe. They were a duo as well, but they were kind of like synthy pop thing. But she was bemoaning the fact that she's got to spend 2 years on the road, because that's how they make their money, and she'd rather be back in the studio making another record and writing songs, but they can't afford to do that,
Yeah.
There's that thing hanging over their head.
You totally gotta, like, that's your bread and butter now, is on the road. So I think we're trying to do it so that we kind of do like 3 weeks on, 3 weeks off, like go on tour for 3 weeks or 4 weeks, then go home for 3 or 4 weeks and write, and just keep fresh, and so that you're always working towards the next project. I think we're doing that because of the last sort of 4 years. We sort of learned our lesson a little bit. We should have done that.
Right.
We should have been more prepared. So now we're thinking about it that way, and it's also nice for us because I think after three weeks is the sweet spot, and then when you get to 4, it's like, you're good. You got a bit of rhythm going. But in 5 weeks, I'm getting tired.
I want to go
home. You need to go home. Yeah. So if you find 3 weeks is a great sort of stint, and then you go home, write some songs, then get the sort of urge to go back out and play them live. Yeah, it's good.
And musically, is anything happening? Will people hear something different on a new record than, say, the first album that you guys did?
I think it's just more refined. Like, I think we're better at playing our instruments. We're better at writing songs, and I think that's kind of just what this album is. It's just a combination of all that.
Yeah, I think working with a producer, like we worked with Burke Reed on the last 2 records, and so he really drilled us to sort of focus on melodies, and his thing was like, you just need sort of 4 or 5 of these sort of big hook songs, and they'll get you the festivals and that sort of stuff. He's like, and then you can write as many riffs and go crazy on the other songs, and so
you just need a big whoa.
Yeah, you take that on board,
Throw that in there.
Yeah, as in a chorus. You guys are good.
Off you go.
So you take that on board, and I think we sort of, we've set our benchmark a little bit higher now, and with that in mind, when we're writing songs, like we don't just settle on the first thing. We're like rewrite until we're like, okay, that is the best thing we've written of the 6 choruses that we wrote for this song, kind of thing. And then sometimes you write a song and it's like done into, a couple of hours, and that's how it is. But some of them, we have rewritten.
And do they usually start with riffs?
Yeah, it's usually like a riff or like a chord progression and a vocal melody now.
And do you write together, or do you kind of come with something, or you come with something, and then?
Usually it starts like, I'll have a little idea, and I'll send it to Simon, and like, can you throw some drums on this? And he'll send it back, or sometimes I will be just like a guitar thing, and I'll send it, and we'll get a track, like a whole track with no vocal. And it's, to me, it's kind of like that's 50% done. Right. And then maybe a year later or 6 months later, a vocal will just appear on. Like, I was like, oh, that sounds good. So then all of a sudden, it's like that song's now a real thing, and then we can kind of work on it from that. But yeah, it's been okay because we live in separate cities.
All right. So one of you lives in Brisbane.
Yeah, Brisbane, and I'm in Sydney. And so we just write over like on Gmail. So
and again, that seems
really
to be a thing that people do. That the same duo that I just referred to earlier, those folks lived in separate cities in the U.S.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They were at the end. They were flying back and forth, but I'm sure the internet took a beating as well. So
Yeah, it's
after
good.
we get like a number of songs together, we'll go try find like a studio or somewhere just to hang out and try play them together.
right.
Yeah, because it's always different playing them as a band to playing them in headphones and everything stuck to a grid.
Right.
And then so you got to go away and actually play them as a band to find where the swing of the song and how to fall in and out of parts.
Right.
And that's kind of the fun bit as well, because otherwise I think when it's recorded it's pretty rigid. Yeah, so it's nice. And then we kind of just like get together for a day or two before we go on tour and rehearse and head out and practice on the road.
So you're at Galatos tonight, and then you have a couple other dates throughout the country. So when you're on stage doing it, how much of a different thing is it for you and for the songs than what we hear on the record?
Well, we try to keep pretty to it. There's a few songs that will, have a few bits and pieces where we'll be like, all right, we can just play around with this part, stretch it out or whatnot. But usually they're all pretty similar.
I think sonically, obviously, on a record, we use so many different tones and guitars and bass amps and guitar amps and stuff. But then when you're on stage, we're just using like one guitar amp, one bass amp, whatever. And so sonically, it can be, I think, a little louder on stage.
Right.
It's a bit more raucous.
Yep.
And we use similar tones like throughout all the songs. But it doesn't matter as much because you're kind of just getting fed that live information, just like it's in and out. But when you listen to a record, it's the same thing over and over again. You need to have those different colours to sort of keep it interesting over multiple listens.
Yeah. And what has the audience reaction been to the new stuff? So I assume you've been playing in Australia before you came.
Well, yeah, we did Falls Festival. We played a couple of new ones from the record just before it sort of dropped.
Yeah. And
it was really good. And then when we went to South Africa a few weeks ago, we were playing about half the record on that tour, and it was great. It's really cool. And it's nice to know that, like, I guess because of streaming and stuff, like, our record's available in South Africa.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It is universal. It's like everybody can get everything. So that's kind of cool. And so you guys have toured through New Zealand several times before.
Yeah.
So do you find that you're kind of running into the same people in the same places? And
well, it's been a few years since we've been here.
Right.
So I think we're sort of starting again a little bit on like this tour.
Right.
Yeah, we let the momentum die down a bit.
Yeah. So we want to come back here like once a year is really.
Yeah. Well, you should.
Every time you do the flight.
Now? It's like April.
Yeah.
You should come back again in like January next time.
Yeah.
Less than a year. And
exactly.
I'm just helping you.
Yeah, thank you.
Well,
you do the flight, and you're like, wow, that is so quick to get here.
Yeah. It's not really that
it's
far.
Not far.
No, it's not.
Boom.
Yeah.
It's not like going to the States.
Yeah.
Have you played much in the States?
Yeah, we
We've
have.
been over there a bunch of times.
Yeah, it's a hard nut to crack.
Yeah.
It's so fun to tour though.
It's awesome to tour.
There's a lot of driving though, I imagine.
Yeah, last time we toured there with Dune Rats, and we all pitched in and just got a sleeper bus for 11 of us.
Nice.
And that was amazing because we'd never been on a sleeper bus before, but being able to finish a show and just pretty much like roll into bed at 2 in the morning and wake up at 2 in the afternoon in another city, it's like time travel.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's
awesome.
all right.
You could get a little Groundhog Day-ish though, like when you're stumbling out of a bar in the morning and then onto the bus, and then you stumble out of the bus after you've just woken up straight into another bar. You're like, oh, I haven't done anything.
For some people, that's a dream come true, you realize.
Cool. Yeah. I see how you can mistake what city you're in, that sort of deal.
Yeah, definitely. All right, well, hopefully folks will get out. Are you traveling by air or by car?
Yeah, we're flying this
air today, okay. And get out to Galatos and where else?
Blue Smoke and Christchurch.
Yep.
And San Fran,
Wellington.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, thanks for stopping up here.
No
I'd like to have you
worries.
come up here and bring your instruments and amplifiers sometime. And
Yeah,
do a
man.
thing.
Yeah,
It'd be
rad
good.
space.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.